All right, let's take a look at some YouTube comments. Can't wait to check in with my people. Let's take a look at the Jewel Tones video. That one was really fun to put together, so it'd be really great to see what people are saying. Love your video, James, but most of the colors shown didn't fit my narrative of what I think of Jewel Tones. Not too much I consider Jewel Tones, playing it pretty safe. I was totally confused by your examples of Jewel Tones. To me, Jewel Tones are rich and vibrant. I'm a gosh darn failure. That pink was beautiful. Okay, thank God. Now that I'm back from my workstation, I'm back in the studio, I have fully recovered from what I read, and I'm prepared to give you some more examples of beautifully vibrant Jewel Tones. Jewel Tones at their core are in fact extremely punchy and vibrant. And while I did mention a few examples of these in the video, of Hunter Green or Mustard Yellow and Dinner Party, today I'll give you 6 more of those really full-on Jewel Tone colors and just give you the entire Jewel Tone rainbow. If that sounds like a plan, then smash the like button because I could sure use a hug right now. But before you go and slap some big bold Jewel Tones on your walls all over your home, I cannot stress the importance of properly testing the colors out first. Our preferred method of doing this is, of course, you grab a mighty board, because these are large paintable surfaces that you can paint with any paint color you want, and you can properly interpret the paint colors in the space that you're using them in. The boards themselves are made with a material that doesn't warp or bend, meaning it can be placed flat against the surface on your wall, so you don't have to worry about any pesky shadows messing with your eyes. Mighty boards are great because you can move them around your room. When it comes to testing your paint colors, go Mighty. I'll leave some Mighty Boards information down in the description below if you want to pick some up for yourself. So all of these colors are by Sherwin, and they're definitely on the brighter and bolder side of things and really play into that maximalist color scheme. The first one being Fabulous Grape, SW6293. This color is a beautifully deep berry-like magenta that does a great job at combining purple and red. It almost gives you the slight illusion of burgundy, but it's well balanced with a purple quality as well. Its LRV is 6, which makes it quite dark as it does contain a decent amount of black colorant within it. Not nearly as much as a color like Blackberry, for example, which is far too shaded in comparison for me. I would call it one of those more stronger accent color choices, but it's also a fantastic choice for someone that is starting with a ton of light warm neutrals and you want to inject some Jewel Tone colors into the whole scheme. Fabulous Grape is a fabulous choice for that. Now, what if you wanted to tone down the purple but still have a lot of that beautiful ruby red? Well, that's what Red Bay accomplishes. Surprise, surprise, another deeply saturated color here. Although this one is technically a bit lighter than the previous color with an LRV of 9. And just a reminder to those of you that are new to the channel, a color's LRV is essentially the light reflectance value. That's what the acronym stands for. And it's a percentage from 0 to 100 dictating how much light the color is reflecting. The higher the number, the lighter the color will appear. Red Bay is your beautifully rich ruby red color that is just a bit fiery, almost heading into sun-dried tomato territory, and definitely brings more warmth than Fabulous Grape, for example. A fun fact about Red Bay, actually, it was featured in the color mix forecast for 2022 by Sherwin in the specific collection called Opus, and I only noticed this after I put this video together, which is kind of interesting because the Opus collection does use a lot of those darker Jewel Tones almost exclusively. So that kind of felt cool to me. Me and Sherwin are on the same wavelength. The next color is an extremely vibrant golden yellow that takes the idea of mustard yellow and introduces a slight bit of orange gold in the undertones. The color is called Goldfinch. It's quite possibly the brightest and most obnoxious color here, and that's because yellow kind of has that effect. And I would call it the less reserved approach to the darker mustards that I personally gravitate towards in my Jewel Tone color palettes. This would be the other extreme where you really don't get any of that deep blackening in the undertones. This one is pretty pure in its yellow hue saturation. I think for a lot of people, finding a happy medium between these two types of colors, that's more of a sweet spot for me. But I wanted to present this option for anyone that's looking for something mega bright and punchy. Moving on to beautiful emerald green, we're bringing that LRV back down because that's where a lot of Jewel Tones tend to live. And Derbyshire, Derbyshire, as my Scottish fiance might say. It has an LRV of only 9, and it really has a lovely aesthetic where you don't really see any cooling or blue undertones popping through. It just has the perfect amount of a slight yellow undertone to really increase that vibrancy without making it feel zesty. What's great about jewel tones is you can slightly adjust the undertones, kind of like actual gemstones in real life. I mean, the purest forms will always tend to share the same sort of coloration, but there's always going to be subtle differences from one jewel to the next, especially when you factor in your interior lighting conditions. But what if you like blue? What if you like a bit of coolness? What if you're a fan of rich, icy sapphire? Well, the blue that I picked here is just a bit more vibrant than your traditional navy blues, although it still has a considerable level of depth with an LRV of 7, and the color is called Blue Blood. Just a really pure, straightforward blue that is perhaps a teensy bit more vibrant than what I traditionally see used in jewel tone color palettes, but it can absolutely be done. An interesting thing about this color in particular is when you go on the Sherwin-Williams website and click on the old details tab. I love the details tab. That's where you find out about things like LRV and RGB values. And when you look over at the RGB value, which is more of a digital representation of the color's breakdown, it only has 1 point in the red category and 134 in the blue. This means that this color is very much a blue. There's no real risk of it feeling purple in any way. It's blue through and through. But what if you saw that first color we talked about today, Fabulous Grape, and you like the purple in it, but you still really like blue? Well, we're gonna come full circle with our last color on this list, which is arguably my favorite on the entire list. And it's because it almost seems to me like a navy purple. Just a beautifully rich color with an LRV of 6, and it's called Valiant Violet. Absolutely stunning color. And what's great about it is it still offers the same thing that a lot of the more traditional navy blues do, but you have that bit of red in its undertones to give it that slight hint of purple, which really does elevate the look very well. Now, I did mention that Opus color palette, which does use a lot of jewel tones as well, and you can check it out right over here. I just can't believe I chose the same red from that collection for this list without even knowing.